History was made last night in Moorhead by the Spuds. A big night on the diamond. We'll recap that. Plus, Cory Provus here on the Twins and a thriller in the NBA Finals. Hot Mike on a Friday starts now.
Hot Mike with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mike.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mike. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Friday morning. Welcome to the It's Sunny in Moorhead edition of Hot Mike on WDAY Extra. KSFL, good morning in Sioux Falls, KNBN in Rapid City, and Inforum.com. Happy Friday, everybody. June the 6th, wrapping up the week in style. We got a packed show on tap after another thriller in a championship series. We had overtime to start the Stanley Cup final. We had a near buzzer beater last night to start the NBA finals. So if this is a precursor of what we've got, hopefully for the next couple of weeks to wrap up the winter sports season in the NBA and the NHL, then sign me up for that. And we'll get to that in just a little bit. I mentioned It's Always Sunny in Moorhead edition. It's always a great day to be a Spud, first off. More so today, the fact that two more Moorhead teams qualified for state tournaments. Boys lacrosse won the Section 8 title for the 5th year in a row. 5 years running, they are going to be at state. And then last night, the Spud baseball team knocked off St. Michael Albertville, who they beat in lacrosse as well, to win the Section 8 4A baseball title. For the first time in 35 years, Moorhead's baseball team is at the state tournament. And they've had some really good players come through Moorhead and have not been able to get over the hump. And they did last night, and we're going to shine the spotlight on them coming up later on in the show. Pretty excited about that. We got a lot to get to. It is Friday. Cory Provus will be back with us after the Twins wrapped up their 10-game roadie. Not the best yesterday, but back home to open up a series with the Blue Jays tonight. We're going to preview that coming up later on in the show. Plus, yesterday we share the news of the now mid-major realignment wheel is going. With the news, Utah Valley is bound for the Big West. Villanova's football program is heading to the Patriot League. There could be some more movement involving the Summit League and the Missouri Valley Football Conference. And earlier this week, the league, that is the Valley, announced its new chief operating officer. You're going to meet him coming up later on in the show. Plus, Aaron Rodgers is a Steeler, and there's only one person we can have to talk about that. That's coming up before we wrap up the show. But let's rock and roll from last night in OKC. Two major sporting events in Oklahoma City last night. Game 2 of the Women's College World Series, which we'll show you in a minute, but also Game 1 of the NBA Finals featuring the Thunder and Indiana. Indiana, a massive underdog to the team that won 68 games. We saw firsthand what the Thunder did to the Timberwolves. And if you watched the first half of this game and said, sayonara, I wouldn't have blamed you, because how it started off was just like we saw against the Wolves, that Indiana couldn't hang on to the ball. They forced 20 turnovers in the first half. That's what the Thunder do, and they revel in that. We're going to pick it up late third quarter. SGA cans a 3. That puts OKC up 9 after 3. Go to the fourth. Another turnover. Jalen Williams thunder dunk. They're up 15. This game is donezo. Alex Caruso drive and the finish. At that point, I'm like, all right, that's it. They're going to win. Well, nobody told the Pacers. Obi Toppin, we saw that. Obi Toppin beat the Wolves. Remember that in March? Miles Turner cans a 3, banks it in. All of a sudden, It's a 4-point game with 6 minutes to go. The lead is 6, 2 minutes left. Andrew Nebhard with a step-back 3. Stand-up Gonzaga. The lead is 3. And that play when Neesmith got blocked, and then it comes back the other way, and SGA scores. Like, okay, now they're going to handle it. They're up 5 with a minute and a half to go. Lead is 3. Under a minute to go. Nebhard, way short. Siakam, though, cleans it up. It's a 1-point game. Thunder with the ball. SGA, more importantly, with the ball. The shot off the mark. Pacers get the board. More importantly, they do not call timeout. You know Tyrese Halliburton is going to take the shot, and of course it goes in with 0.3 of a second remaining. The first time in the entire game that Indiana has the lead. He did it against the Bucks. He did it against the Cavs. He did it against the Knicks. And now he does it to the Thunder in Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Indiana wins it 111-110 in an absolute shocker. I think that was the best way to describe even the broadcast. Mike Breen, Doris Burke, and Richard Jefferson, I think, were awestruck at what happened, even though the fact that the Pacers have done this in the first 3 rounds of this NBA postseason. Third game-winning shot for Halliburton. That one against the Knicks is still the most absurd shot. Last night was pretty darn good. Siakam was great with a double-double. Obi Toppin at 5 threes. You can't discount that. SGA was great. But OKC now 36-1 with a 15-point lead or more. How about that? Indiana goes in and takes Game 1, and now the Thunder have got to sit in it because not only it is a 1-day break, it is a 2-day break. No game tonight, no game tomorrow. Game 2, Sunday night, 7 o'clock on WDAY. Earlier start time with the Sunday night game before the series now then shifts to Indianapolis for games 3 and 4 next Wednesday and Friday. Somehow, Halliburton was voted overrated, most overrated player in the NBA. This is going to be painful to Eric because he did it to the Bucks. Who's voting for that? I don't understand. Halliburton, I know, didn't play a ton on the USA Olympic team last summer, but he was picked for a reason. He was one of the 12 best players to go. He ripped your guts out at the end of that game with the Bucks back in April. I don't get it, man. He's good.
He's good, but he only shows up
when it matters, though, right?
But he doesn't show up all the time. That's why he's overrated. Like, there are games where he just – is he even playing today? I mean, you saw
Game 5 against the Knicks.
Yeah,
it happened there.
He didn't
That's
show
right.
up, and people are making – yesterday, he didn't really have his – he had 14
14 and 10. He had a double-double, 6 assists last night. That's pretty good. Came up when it mattered.
14 points? Come on. SGA had 38.
Oh, he had the biggest shot, though, did he not?
Yeah, he had the biggest shot, but he's still overrated.
All right. Well, he's not going to let that go of what happened at the end. Milwaukee was up. What were you guys up, 9?
I don't want to talk about it. Someone just take me back out to the woodshed and beat me with a board.
Game 2 coming up on Sunday night. You'll see it on WDAY. What a win for Indiana last night. We're not going to spend too much time on the Twins game yesterday. When a position player gets in the game to pitch, not a good sign. The Twins had a chance, though, to finish out their 10-game roadie with a winning road trip, and David Festa was up and was greeted rudely. I didn't know there were 2 Max Muncies. Doesn't Max Muncy play for the Dodgers? There's another that plays for the A's. They did a 3-run homer right there. It's 4-0. This guy, Tyler Soderstrom, turned into Babe Ruth against the Twins yesterday. That's a 2-run homer. It's 7-0 Sacramento. The Twins finally got on the board in the 4th on this Matt Wallner shot. Good to see him back in the lineup for Wallner. That is 3rd home run. Made it a 7-1 score. Then Soderstrom is up again with Jorge Alcala on the mound, and look where this one goes. Opposite field, grand slam. We're told the ball flies out of that park during the day. We saw it yesterday. There was 5 home runs in the game. Jonah Bride got into his first career pitching appearance. You can do this when a team is behind by 9 or more. You can bring in a position player. He actually got a couple outs. Nice running catch there by Bader in center. Got a strikeout. That's got to be the most frustrating for a hitter. Wait a minute. This guy struck me out? You can see. He went 2 innings. The hitters are so upset they're making outs. 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, and a strikeout. They actually did get to him. Brent Rooker, former Twin, is never going to let up against his team. That's a 2-run double. They got 2 touchdowns on the Twins yesterday. 14-3. The A's avoid being swept in a 4-game series. Snap their 9-game losing streak in the process and hand the Twins their 5th loss on this road trip. 14-3, the final. Twins finished their 10-game roadie at 5-5 after losing series in Seattle and Tampa. They take 3 of 4 against Sacramento. Rough go for David Festa, especially after the news with Pablo Lopez that Festa is going to have to be one of the guys, you'd think. 3 2/3, 8 runs, all of them earned. 6 strikeouts and gives up the 3 bombs, 2 of them to Soderstrom, who was amazing yesterday, driving in 6. As we mentioned, obviously, in the news yesterday with Lopez going to be out at least 2 months, maybe longer, with that lat strain. Back home tonight after 2 weeks basically on the road, the Blue Jays are coming to Target Field to start a weekend set. Toronto always brings a ton of fans. And they got the guy that the Twins crush. Kevin Gausman will pitch tonight for Toronto. Bailey Ober will be going for Minnesota. Mark of 4-1, ERA at 3.48. Much more on the Twins. Cory Provus will join us in about 25 minutes to give us everything going on with the baseball club. Last thing to wrap up our opening segment, we go back to Oklahoma City for Game 2 of the Women's College World Series. So we showed you yesterday, Texas won in a thriller in Game 1, 2-1 over Texas Tech. It's best of 3, meaning the Red Raiders had to win yesterday to get to a deciding Game 3. And they brought out all the big guns. Not only, Nyjah Kennedy is a fabulous softball player. But that even brought out one Patrick Mahomes wearing Texas Tech colors because, of course, he is a Red Raider. This was another dynamite game. Bottom of the 5th, Cambria Salmon on the mound, walks Alana Johnson, gets in the first run of the game. It's 1-0. Then a wild pitch is going to allow another run to come to score. It's 2-0. Now 3-1. Tegan Cavan is pitching. Of course, she's great for Texas. Maya Davis up. That one gets away. Another run comes in to score. Texas booting around. They made 3 errors in the game Wednesday. Now it's 4-1. Kennedy, 2 strikes, 2 outs. It's a 4-3 score. Gets the strikeout on Caden Henry. And Texas Tech forces a winner-take-all game tonight. 4-3, the final. We've had 2 one-run games in this. It's been dynamite. And I know people are watching basketball. I hope you turned over to watch a little bit of the softball. You got nothing tonight. If you're not into hockey, because you got Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final tonight, if that's not your jam, this is what you got to be watching tonight, is Game 3 with the winner to claim the national championship. That's what you want. So rare in this if we got a winner-take-all in the championship round. But we got that coming up tonight between Texas and Texas Tech. Candy is worth just you sitting down and watching tonight because she's fantastic. We got a packed show coming up for you. Excited about our Friday lineup presented by Northwestern Mutual. Coming up here in just a few minutes, Greg Salvevold will join us, the head coach of the Moorhead Spud baseball team. We mentioned it off the top, a big win last night in a winner-take-all game. They knocked off St. Michael Albertville to earn a first trip to state in 35 years. He'll join us in just a couple minutes. It is Friday. Cory Provus will join us in his usual Friday time slot as the Twins are back home, as we mentioned, to get the Blue Jays in town. They're going to make a call-up as well One of their top prospects is coming up. You'll meet him at 9:35. At 10 o'clock, the new chief operating officer of the Missouri Valley Football Conference, part of this new conglomeration with the Summit and the Valley. They're going to hire a guy who's going to be the day-to-day operations dude. This is him, Kyle Grooms, who's done similar in the WAC, which is intriguing because we know the WAC is losing teams left and right. Could one of those schools become in the Valley way? We're going to ask Kyle about that at 10 o'clock. And I mentioned Aaron Rodgers is a Steeler. There's only one guy to talk to about that. My pops, who's a diehard Steelers fan. It's ironic he went from the Jets to the Steelers. And by the way, Eric, who do the Jets open week 1 of the 2025 season with?
I think that black and yellow team.
It's the Steelers. Boy, there's going to be that is not going to go well
Hey,
that first
trivia
week.
question for you, and I'll let you think about it over the break.
Oh.
Can you name the quarterbacks that have beaten every team in the NFL?
Every team?
All 32.
Ugh. How many are there? Gonna give me a hint?
I think there's 6.
No. I thought there was like 2. I'll try before the end of the show. So that's coming up before we wrap things up. So we got a packed lineup here on a Friday. Looking forward to it. We're going to have some fun here today. We'll take our first break. We come back. We'll salute the Moorhead Spuds. Greg Salvevold will join us on what's been a dynamite athletic year in Moorhead, capped off on what happened last night. Back on Hot Mic on this Friday morning, right after this. Welcome back, everybody, here on a beautiful Friday morning. Off and rolling. Cory Provus, voice of the Twins, will join us in about 15 minutes. Chat everything about after a long 3-city road trip for the Twins. Speaking of long, it was a long day yesterday for the Moorhead Spud baseball team, but it was worth it as the Spuds beat St. Michael Albertville in the winner-take-all game to win the Section 8 4A championship, earning Moorhead's trip to state. First time since 1990 that the Spuds will play at the state baseball tournament. It was a short night, but a good night for our next guest. Longtime head coach Greg Salvevold is good enough to join us here after a short night of rest. He might be blurry-eyed, but congratulations, my man. This is 3 decades in the making. You've been doing this a long time. Just describe the emotion this morning knowing you're going to the state baseball tournament.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Just having that experience. And every year, that's every kid's dream that wants to go to a state tournament and play on the fields down there. And, you know, on next Wednesday, we'll be playing on CHS field. And if you make it to third place game or championship game, it's on Target Field. You know, how awesome would that be? But the kids, you know, from day one, they knew what they could do, and they proved it. And just watching the leadership of this senior group, man, just well deserved.
What has happened with your team over the last 3 weeks? Like you just became possessed, it seems like, of how you've played. Can you put your finger on what's happened over the last couple of weeks?
Oh, it's just, yeah, words can't really describe it, just because, you know, we had that stretch where nothing was going our way. And we're just like, man, we have a team that can do so much, and just keeping them in that positive note of, hey, this is baseball and we know we're going to come out of it. I mean, games we'd barrel the bat against Brainerd 8-9 times right at people, and we lost 4-1. Playing Bemidji, 8 ground ball hits, and we lose 2-0. You know, like, just nothing was going our way. But I think the biggest message that we told the boys, like, this stretch is going to make you want it more. And right when we started winning some games and things going for us, it was just like magic, like making plays, not having the errors, doing the right thing, timely hitting, you know, 2-out hits, and them just believing in themselves that, hey, this is what our team is all about. And right when we started winning, it was just, we were just rolling.
I'll get to the last night in a second. I want to go back, though, Greg, to the win over Sartell. Extra inning win. What did that do to start sections to say, okay, we're on a roll, we can do something here?
Yeah, our pitching, you know, a 2.3 ERA all year. And I was just telling you, in 10 losses. And, you know, that's just baseball. And we knew once we get our bats going, good things are going to happen. And we told the boys also that the best timing is at the end. Everyone's 0-0. And just getting those timely hits and having our pitchers go in there and throw strikes, that was so key. Easton Gross, going in there and pitching 15, I think it was scoreless innings, but maybe 1 run. That's just awesome. And Drake Kunza, like last night, he starts the game, he throws 75, 80 pitches, and Heinz on the mound for us was just throwing a gem. And he puttered out a little bit, and Drake Kunza, no, he didn't putter out. He met his pitch count. Sorry. And we had to take him out, and Drake Kunza in the background is like, Salvi, give me the ball. I'm ready to go. So having that senior leadership, wanting to have the ball at that key moment, and seeing what he did at the last 2 innings was just outstanding to give us the win.
We just saw, Salvi, the Bison baseball team go through it where they had to need both games in the championship round to beat Oral Roberts. You were in the same position. You play a heck of a first game. STMA wins it by 1, so you don't have a whole lot of time. You got, like 25 minutes. What do you tell the guys in between games 1 and 2 before you get back out there?
When you've been on that winning streak, having that loss, it was like, what do we need to do, boys? They were sitting in the dugout, wondering what's going to happen on the second game and doubting themselves in a sense. So we had to get the boys together to say, hey, that's the game of baseball. We had 2 hits. We didn't deserve to win, and we get another chance. And that's what's awesome coming to be the undefeated team into that championship game. You get another chance. And we kind of flip-flopped roles. They had 3 hits, and we had the timely hitting, and things went good for us. And some of the plays in the field were just outstanding that helped us win that game.
We're watching video, Salvi, of you. You gave a hug to everybody when you gave the medal. Describe what that moment was like for you.
Oh, it was hard to keep in the emotions just thinking about, like, all the former Spuds, like, unbelievable. You look at our senior leadership and the guys that have changed these boys into young men and leaders, like our seniors this year. The Wyatt Tweets, Carson Zimmel, Carter Heinz, Cullen Wilson. Like, they're the reason why these guys have grown so much in the game of baseball, because of their leadership and them showing these younger guys what it takes. And, our bench mob, unbelievable. I have to give them some remarks because they were unbelievable. Owen Choen coming in there and being that 10th player and having everyone just rally around the starting 10 guys. They're on the bus. They do a starting lineup for bench mob on the bus before the games during playoffs. And it's, just seeing that atmosphere and that leadership of every guy knowing their role. And we've talked about it all year. It takes everyone on the team. And that's why we won the championship, because of everyone on our team.
So keep the good vibes rolling here with what's happened in Moorhead this year. You know what happened with hockey? Lacrosse obviously won yesterday. Girls hockey made it to state. Basketball on the boys' side gets there. What is it? Did you feel some inherent pressure? Like, hey, we got to keep our end of the bargain up in the spring sports season?
Oh, yeah. Me being a hockey guy, too, like, that was just an unbelievable experience. Going through that and seeing the stretch that we've gone to state so many times and not winning that big one. Yeah. And that's kind of like baseball. We haven't been to state for 35 years. And, these boys wanted it so bad. They see that the winning streak that we're on and the confidence that was building up. They knew they could do it. And seeing all these team sports do what they've done, it was just our time, and so exciting to see these boys do what they've done.
Before I let you go, so you'll find out tomorrow your seed and who you face. You mentioned you're going to be playing at the home of the St. Paul Saints next Wednesday. Just for yourself, you've been in baseball forever. You've played professional baseball. What is that moment going to be like for you before the game next Wednesday that we did it, we finally got here?
I think the biggest thing I told the guys is, hey, we have unfinished business. Like, we can not only go to a state tournament, but do something at a state tournament. I mean, with our pitching, you know how baseball is. You get good pitching and anything can happen. You can shut down good hitting teams. And I think these boys realize what they've done, but, you know, they know it's unfinished business and they want to make a statement down at the state tournament.
I wish I had more time. You could tell the story of how in the world you got on the field at the World Series when the Phillies won it in 2008. Is there a way you could tell that story in under 2 minutes?
Oh, I mean, I was just telling someone the other day about that. You know, Coast has been such an instrumental to my baseball.
Yes.
But, you know, I had a Coast shirt on. I had a camera. I would sneak down below and get on the field, and Coast looks over, and I'm arm in arm with Chase Utley, Jimmy Rollins, Ryan Howard, and he's like, "How did you get on Salvi?" And we went and got dirt from home plate, the pitching mound, and oh man, I mean, it was unbelievable. And he's like, "You're the one guy I knew that would probably get on the field," and just having that experience with best friend Coaster, it's been awesome. And he invited us to a practice the day before opening day. So we had our infielders working with their guys on Red Hack Stadium. And I mean, he's been just awesome. And then we went to the game the other night, and we were the biggest cheering fans out there during that game. And he texted me after the game. He's like, "We need more of that." That was awesome. Just seeing your team, just so excited for watching Red Hawk baseball. But yeah, being able to go play at CHS and maybe having the opportunity at Target Field, it's so exciting for these boys and our community.
It's great to see you, man. Thanks so much for doing this on a short amount of sleep. Congratulations and good luck next week, okay?
All right. Thanks for having me.
Good to see you, bud. There he goes. Greg Salvevold, head coach of the Moorhead Spud baseball team, winning last night to make their first trip to the state tournament since 1990. Congratulations to them. That's awesome. We're due for a break. We come back. We'll keep the baseball chatter up. Cory Provus will join us as the Twins are back home, welcoming the Blue Jays, starting a series tonight. We'll do that when Hot Mike returns right after this.
Deep to left center field. Back it goes and gone. The 0-2 pitch. Hey! Struck him out swinging at 101. Swinging a drive. Left field and deep. Back it goes and gone. And the Twins walk it off again.
It is Friday at 9:35, which means we visit with Cory Provus from the Minnesota Twins, play-by-play broadcaster on Twins TV. His appearance is brought to us by Welton's Tire Service, the Road Warrior, just back from Sacramento, California. The Twins go 5-5 on their 10-game roadie. They win 3 of 4 against the Athletics. We'll call them the Sacramento A's on this program. All right, so you made it back. What do we were visiting off air. Accommodations were maybe better than you thought in Sacramento?
I'll tell you this. I had all these thoughts and I had all these images and feelings about it beforehand. And after, being there for 4 days, bravo. I had a fine time. And the booth is great. People are fantastic, both the crew, but even the folks that work at the games, the ushers, very hospitable, kind. The weather was beautiful. You could walk to the ballpark from downtown where we stayed. I had a fine experience. I really did, and it was neat because the clubhouse is behind left field, so Rocco would do his pregame media session around 4:30 local time. And when that would end, you leave and you're walking back onto the field, and that while it was happening during A's batting practice. So you're on the warning track and you got your head on a swivel here a little bit. You're looking around, and because can you imagine the flack that I would have taken from Dan Glad if I got concussed or if I broke a bone, if I got hurt because I wasn't paying attention to a live ball during batting practice, I would never live that down.
No.
So I thought, hey, I really had a fine time, and I would go back there in a heartbeat.
I will say I'm a big fan of Trevor Plouffe in the booth. What is it like working with him? And he's become a social media star with what he's done baseball-wise. I thought he was great with you guys over the last week.
He's a natural. He really is a natural. And what he and we agree on a lot of things is that I don't want to rehearse too much. Like, there's some elements of the show we do rehearse because we have some graphics and things like that, but I told him, I said, hey, just if you come up with some stuff that, hey, might be a bit, might be an angle to take, whatever, don't tell me beforehand because I really want it to happen naturally. And I think that when that happened, it happened quite a bit. It made for some really good TV. And I think that the West Coast, the time change, I think it has a different feel to it that we do, I think, address it and televise it with a bit more of a looser format, if you will, and we'll take some more shots at different things. And I don't know why that is, because I still think we're getting a bunch of people watching the games, but there is something about that I think there's, for some reason, Dom, a bit more freedom. Yeah. And I'm glad it went over well, and he's great. And, I hope that we can keep him. He's the kind of guy that, he's going to be he's already doing national stuff anyway with his John Boy, amazing work. But I think he's going to keep climbing the food chain here a little bit, and so I hope that we're lucky enough to keep him for as long as we can.
I just enjoy his takes on the game, and his banter with you is fantastic. It really makes for a good broadcast. I'm not saying that because you're here. I wanted to tell you that before I forgot. I didn't know that Major League Baseball decided to schedule, and I joked with this earlier in the week, a postseason series in late May, because the Twins-Mariners felt like it with the 3 one-run games. Give me your sense of, I think we talked about this heading into it, that maybe 2 teams that are pretty similar. It certainly played out that way last weekend.
That was as enjoyable of a series that I can recall being a part of. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
I think the crowds were great. The games themselves played out dramatically. The Twins, 3 straight days, tied the game in the 9th inning. And then the game Friday, a week ago today, that to me was the best win of the season. Andres Munoz had yet to allow an earned run all year, down by 3 runs to come back against that dude and that team at that ballpark. Man, that was something else. And considering how that began with Zebby giving up 4 in the first inning, you're like, how's this going to go? And then he hung in there, man. I mean, Zebby pitched great. And then Correa coming up with that big swing in the 10th inning. And Buxton was a beast on the road trip. And then Wallner came. I mean, it was that series, you're right. That was about as enjoyable of a series that I can recall being a part of in the regular season.
Yeah, it was just filled with drama and some really good stuff. So let's go to some more drama that's not great, and with Pablo Lopez, and we saw the shot of him motioning towards the dugout with warm-ups before the 6th inning, and obviously he knew something. Corey, you're up in the booth. Are you watching warm-ups in between, or I know you're probably doing 8 million things. When did you get a sense that, something ain't right here?
I didn't know that until Trevor did. You're right. So you're right. I'm not watching warm-ups. I'm not. I might watch more with bullpen guys.
Yeah.
Especially when a bullpen guy comes in for both the Twins and the visiting team with runners on base. And I'll watch some nerves if they chuck the first warm-up to the backstop. I'm like, okay, this is something to follow here. There's a big moment in the game. But normally for starters, I don't watch it. Yes, during the commercial break, I'm doing a bunch of I'm looking something up. I'm talking to producer, director. We're trying to line up traffic for what's coming next out of the commercial break. So it was Trevor that said, "Oh no." And I was like, then when he said that, I can hear it in my headset. Then I looked up and we saw Rocco and Nick Paparesta, the head trainer, head out. And then we're all right, let's try to piece it together. So when we see that, we're watching it live, and in the truck, they're trying to get video ready. Do we have the feed? Do we have anything where Pablo showed any tug of something, any grab of something? And we didn't have that. So at that moment, It's not good, but you cannot speculate.
Yeah.
This goes back. This is more college football training than anything else, where injuries happen all the time. You just can't. You can't go with it unless you see it. When Pablo hurt his hamstring in April, you see him grab at it. Then I think that's fair then to say, okay, let's isolate that. But we didn't know. We didn't know what it was, and we were hoping it would.
He got froze up here for a second. We'll get it back. There you go. Sorry, but
Gotcha. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Obviously this is the same injury that Joe Ryan had, and that for Twins fans, they fear the worst because we didn't see Ryan pitch the rest of the year, and obviously Pablo's not going to throw again for a month. That's the fear. Are we going to see him? I know you don't have the answer to this. Are we going to see him again in 2025?
I think we will. They're not going to rush this.
Right.
I don't care how the team is performing. They're not going to rush this. So maybe it's September. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe end of August into September. That's kind of where we're at. And if the team is still kind of hanging around, and I think they will be at that point, what a jolt that will bring is to get this guy back. So they're not going to rush it, but I think he's in great shape. He's young. He doesn't have he has a history of some shoulder issues, but that was about 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. This is a little different because it's his teres major. So it's not a chronic area that I think is that alarming, that concerning. He'll heal, and I think we will see him pitch again this year.
It's just baseball is so your success is tied to how well your pitchers not really can throw, is to stay available. That's if your starting five or your main guys can stay out there, you've got a great chance to win, and it's so fragile of how your baseball success can go.
But wouldn't you agree that from a pitching standpoint, they've been fortunate this year?
Yes.
I think they have been. I mean, Pablo, it missed 2 starts with hamstring, but that's been it. If you look across the baseball landscape, they have been on the more fortunate side in terms of limiting injuries, especially with their pitchers. So it's inevitable. It's bound to happen. You just hope when injuries do pop up that it's weeks, not months, depending on what the injury is. So this is a big one. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is a massive, massive blow. And Chris Paddock, I think, is the key here because the blow is tough. It softens a little bit if Paddock keeps this pace up because Paddock has been awesome
really good
for the last 10 starts, and he's going tomorrow for Game 2 against Kevin Gausman. If he can maintain this pace, even with a slight regression, they're fine. I think that's okay. But if Paddock doesn't, if Paddock gets hurt, or if Paddock kind of falls back into what we saw in the past, then I think it's a lot more concerning. But right now, it's okay because I say that because that's how good Paddock has been for this team the last, 2 months or so.
Yeah. Let's break. We got a couple emails to read to Cory, and we'll talk about an impending call-up and Royce Lewis's struggles at the plate. Much more with our guy, Cory Provus. His appearance is brought to us by Welton's Tire Service. We'll wrap up Hour 1 of Hot Mic right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Wrapping up our first hour with Cory Provus. His appearance is brought to us by Welton's Tire Service. I got a text message to ask you. Dom, could you ask Cory if the A's have the loudest heckler in the majors? You could hear him all game long on the broadcast. I'm sure that gets into your headsets as well, I'm assuming.
I laugh at it, sure. But again, there were, they had small crowds.
Yes.
So there are 8,000 people there a little bit, so in some more confined space. So that stuff's going to come across a bit more than it does at other venues. But, we hear that stuff too, and I'll acknowledge it every now and then if it's a good one. If it's profane, then you kind of move on. You don't want to hear that. But, it's all part of the experience, yeah.
Sometimes make you laugh. That's the best one.
Sure.
Anything for Twins fans to worry about with Carlos Correa getting scratched? Is this anything major or is this something minor?
He told me yesterday he expects to play tonight. That, remember, with Carlos and his plantar fasciitis, he has modified cleats. He doesn't wear metal spikes. And so he has rubber moldings, and they're thin. They're not very long. So I think for him, traction with the dirt that they had, the clay they had, and my understanding is it's just with the amount of work that field is getting every day, if not from the A's, then the AAA team to the Giants that also plays there. It's really hard to keep that any moisture on that dirt, on that clay. And I think Correa, if you remember it was either Monday or Tuesday's game, he stumbled out of the box one day, tried to switch his spikes, and it was a no-go. So he felt a little something towards his mid to upper back. He didn't feel anything swinging in the cage. It was more related to that. So the way talking to him yesterday, he's pretty optimistic he was going to play tonight.
The Twins, sounds like from the Star Tribune, are going to make a pitching call-up, and Travis Adams is going to be brought up to the team tonight. Reliever, he's been pitching out of the bullpen in St. Paul. Right-handed pitcher. What we know much about this guy that's going to be added to the team tonight?
I think he's on the 40-man and homegrown guy. That's too bad because he went to college at Sacramento State, and the Twins were just in Sacramento, right. So it would have been kind of neat for him to debut there. But I think he's thrilled to get his chance. I just think the bullpen needs a fresh arm. I mean, Cody Funderburk has struggled. Jorge Alcala, we know his struggles. I think it's more about getting somebody on the 40-man roster that can throw. Strikeout rate down this year. His strikeout numbers were better last year, but he'll get a chance. Homegrown guy from the pen on the 40-man. So I think it's more about a fresh arm in the pen.
You have constantly, we've talked about Royce Lewis, his disposition of how well he rolls with things. Seeing him struggle like this, is that disposition stayed, Corey, with the fact that he's slumped as poorly as he has?
So I thought Audra Martin had a wonderful report. She joined us in the booth. It was either Tuesday or Wednesday, and we spent like a whole half inning talking about Royce. And Audra, throughout this long road trip, she had quite a few conversations with Royce, in the clubhouse. And the quote because I wasn't in Tampa, but the quote that resonated with me when I heard, hope is lost, I was like, that's not what I want to hear from this guy. But I wasn't there, but it was taken out of context. And I think Audra did a good job explaining that and reminding people that's not, he was saying this more in a sarcastic tone, but without seeing it, without being there, I didn't know that. He's still smiling, and he had a fun experience in Sacramento with his family. He had his grandparents there, his parents were there, his sister was there. He celebrated a birthday yesterday. So I think being around, his wife was there, his family, and still smiling, still having fun. And I think we saw some better swings. I think we did from Royce. And I'd say this, he's playing a really good third base. And that's something that I always wonder about. If somebody's struggling in one area, does that carry over into their defense? And not the case. I mean, the Twins as a team are doing really well at third base defensively. They're not great at second for some reason. No matter who's been out there, that's not been a position of strength. But, third base defensive runs saved as a team, they're +4. And, Royce individually, he's better than league average and outs above average at third base. So I would say that he's still got that smile. He's still got that swagger. And hopefully a couple of good games in Sacramento will be the catalyst to keep it going tonight.
Blue Jays, Corey, are in town. They've turned it around here. They've won 8 of their last 10. They're right now tied for second in the American League East. What do we know about I know the Toronto fans always love coming to Target Field of this year's Blue Jays team we're going to see this weekend.
They are scoring runs aplenty.
Yeah.
This has been an offensive juggernaut the last few weeks. And you're right, they won their last 3 series. They just won 2 out of 3 against the Phillies. So they're hitting. And this I would be shocked if we're going to have these 2-1, 3-2 games. This is going to be, all right, the Twins offense, they got healthy in Sacramento against the A's. Great. Now they're stepping up in weight class against an offense that can match them, if not even perform better. So this is going to be about the boys, keeping what they had on the West Coast, bringing that back home and posting, because it's not just Vlad Jr., it's not even Bo Bichette. Guys like Ernie Clement, Addison Barger. This has been a really good lineup, top to bottom right now, that is confident and is going to come in with plenty of fans. We know that, like you said, Don, plenty of fans behind the third base dugout. Supporting them and making some noise. So it should be a great atmosphere at Target Field all weekend long. It's country music night tonight, so that's going to probably enhance the show even more. But yeah, it should be fun. And but the Toronto right now, yeah, they look really good.
Kevin Gausman is on the mound. We were visiting off air that you said to me that the pendulum eventually has got to swing back because the Twins love seeing this guy.
Yeah, and he's so good. He's a really, really good pitcher. But for whatever it is, I don't know the reason.
Yeah.
And the Twins, do they have something on him? Probably. They're never going to admit that. But if they have it, how come nobody else does? I don't know. He's really good. The Twins hit him hard, especially at Target Field. We all remember the playoffs in 2023. But they hit him hard last year, too, in Ontario. But you're right. At some point, just the odds will swing back the pitcher's way, but thankfully it hasn't happened yet.
Then after that day off, and then the Texas Rangers, I mean, the Rangers seem like they've completely underachieved after winning the World Series. I know they've been beat up, and they've had a ton of injuries, but DeGrom is healthy again, which is scary if you're seeing him.
You know, offensively, it can't. I don't know what's going on, why this team isn't hitting.
Yeah.
And that's been Corey Seager. He's been out, came back. He's not hitting. You know who's been a great player for the Rangers this year? Tyler Mahle.
Yeah, I saw that.
Tyler Mahle, former Twin, hurt, right? Didn't work out, bad trade. Healthy, and he has been awesome. So Tyler Mahle has been great. Jack Leiter, former high pick, Al Leiter's son, he's been throwing hard. So they've got pitching.
Yep.
They have pitching, but for some reason that offense just hasn't hit. And that's been, I think, been the most surprising aspect of the Rangers season so far.
It's great to see you, bud. I know you're excited to be back home. Thanks so much for doing this. We'll see you next Friday, okay?
All right, Dom. Take care, buddy.
There he goes. Cory Provus joins us each and every Friday. His appearances brought to us by Weldon's Tire Service. Twins and the Jays coming up 7 o'clock tonight. Day game tomorrow, 1 o'clock tomorrow, and then 1 o'clock on Sunday to wrap up the weekend. Then a day off Monday, and the Texas Rangers come to town. We'll break. We come back. We'll start hour 2 with the new guy that's going to be running the day-to-day operations of the Missouri Valley Football Conference. You'll meet Kyle Grooms when we start hour 2 on the Football Friday Hot Mic after this.
This is Hot Mic. Hot Mic. On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody. Friday morning show rolls on. So we've been chatting quite a bit here over the last month and a half once we got word that the Missouri Valley Football Conference and the Summit League were going to not necessarily merge, but come together in a way to help each other out. Obviously, we know there's a new commissioner coming in. Jeff Jackson, who we've had on the show last month, is the new Missouri Valley Football Conference commissioner. That becomes effective July 1. We knew the league was going to hire a chief operating officer, and earlier this week they announced that Kyle Grooms will be that guy, and he's lucky enough to join us. We're lucky enough to have him on the show to tell us exactly what this job is going to entail and give us maybe some more detail on what exactly this partnership is going to look like. Kyle, thanks so much for doing this. I guess the easier, obvious question is, okay, so what is your job going to be now as taking over as CEO of the Missouri Valley?
Dom, thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it. Love getting on, talking ball with everybody. So in the short of it, it's all football all the time. Everything's dedicated to MVFC. That's kind of my role. So anything dealing with scheduling, budget, coaches, ADs, officiating, all things football all the time. That's kind of where my hat will lie, and I'll support Commissioner Jackson and Josh Fitton as well, and kind of be a service to everybody in the league.
You have this role previously with the United Athletic Conference, which, as people know here, that's the combo group of the ASUN and the WAC. How much can you use from that job? I know it's different schools to apply now to your new one.
Yeah, certainly. I think it was very, very similar. When we were creating the United Athletic Conference, we kind of had the Missouri Valley Football Conference as sort of our guiding principle on how to set up a two-conference merged league operations as sort of our guiding principles there. So draw a lot of that experience on there. Been doing that for a few years. really just being one of those people that is of service to the coaches, administrators, ADs, presidents, everybody involved.
I guess from afar, knowing what the level of football is in the Missouri Valley Football Conference and covering it in FCS, I've always felt the league never got necessarily its due from either social media or just attention, like drawn more attention to the league. How can you help in that endeavor?
Yeah, that's kind of a good world we like to live in. All news is good news on this, and the MVFC is certainly the shining star in the FCS landscape. Being able to work with the best in the business is really exciting, and that's one that the MVFC, that's the goal that everybody across the country is trying to get to. We'll certainly sell everything that happens in the league, and we'll promote our teams and our coaches, our schools, and our student athletes to the nth degree.
The conference, as you know, Kyle, is one of the two in the FCS that has a national television package. The Big Sky just up theirs. I'm sure that's something that maybe you want to discuss or get the games on. Personally, I'd like to see maybe on a different night, so you're not going head-to-head with an Alabama and a Georgia. How high on the priority list is that for you?
Yeah, eyeballs are always good, so always increasing our exposure. Linear television is and remains, king, and any chance you can get linear TV games on the ESPN network is massive. Those viewerships are incredible. But it's also increasing the exposure on the Plus broadcasts that we have. We've got a great product to sell. We've got a great product to showcase, and looking forward to upping that ante a little bit.
What do you see as maybe job number one? Like when you start, take it over, like what do you see as, okay, this is task number one I want to sink my teeth into?
Yeah, definitely. I think anybody that's in the football business, coaches, everybody, it's a relationship business. So my first deal is just calling coaches, calling ADs. I'm kind of in the middle of the process of doing that. I got the directory just a day ago or so I'm kind of working down my list. But first and foremost, it's always about relationships. It's building those things. That's primary key. Number one, and that will always be primary. Building relationships and being an open line of communication.
From your previous job in the UAC, and obviously those schools were, most of their sports were housed in different leagues. And you have something similar here in the Valley and the Summit here in our own backyard, where North Dakota State, North Dakota, South Dakota State, South Dakota, the rest of their sports are housed in the Summit. How difficult is that? A tightrope to walk? Say we want this for football, but we have to be cognizant of what it does for the other sports in the other league.
I think it makes sense. In this world of college athletics that we're living in, it's a unique model. It fits. It makes sense. The tightrope that I walk is, certainly that's one of our league members. There's no difference to me what league you're playing in outside of football, within our space. And that's the good thing about my job is I'm solely focused on football here. And so, those are all, as I like to say, those are all kind of my children. I'll defend and protect that group and treat them all and love them all just the same. So, but for the other leagues, it's great. You get to celebrate where they're at elsewhere. You look at Murray State and they're running baseball right now.
Yep.
You get to celebrate that stuff. You see all kinds of other, NCAA basketball tournament runs. You kind of get more exposure in those lights that you can kind of celebrate and point things back to our football league.
And look at it. Obviously, you're coming from a conference that has some major shakeup in it. There's been rumor out there of 3 schools in the league you're coming from that potentially could come to this league. And I know you're not going to tell me anything about expansion, but you were here for Abilene Christian's game against the Bison. Tarleton scared the heck out of South Dakota. UT Arlington's been really good in men's basketball. I guess from a 1,000-foot perspective, those schools, how appetizing would they be to potentially come to a Summit or a Missouri Valley?
those schools are great. They've been able to accomplish a lot in a very, very short window of time. We were able to really support them in my previous job. And I think that's helped them flourish there. Certainly they've got aspirations, and they're going to be the best where they're at. One thing I know about the coaches and the leadership there is that they are gung ho about being the best, and that it's where they're planted. Really, really establish some great relationships with those folks, through the years. So I'm a little too young into this job. So, I haven't officially started yet, but and I haven't been in those conversations. But a lot of respect to those administrators and coaches and presidents and all those in those leagues
or
in those schools.
When you've been to Abilene, you've been to Tarleton. For those, we saw them on the road. What has been they're in Texas, so it goes without saying, Kyle, they like football. But what have you seen on the ground? Their commitment, like, we want to be good in FCS, because frankly, we need more teams that are good and are willing to spend money to be good in FCS football. You've seen it firsthand. Can you describe that to us?
Yeah, a lot of those schools, those two that you mentioned, Abilene and Tarleton, they've put a lot of money and resources in building their facilities, not just in the football space, but Abilene Christian just opened a brand new baseball renovated complex. They've done renovations, both have to their football venues, and a lot of the schools in the United Athletic Conference, they took off and they've been renovating. North Alabama's building the new stadium. So just from a over 30,000 foot view, the emphasis on football in the FCS landscape is growing tremendously. It's a good space to be in. And there's appetite for football everywhere.
When you look at the FCS as a whole, where unfortunately we're losing teams left and right to go up to the FBS, challenge of that, knowing the Valley is at the top of keeping the attention on that, keeping people's focus on that. What do you see as a challenge for you of taking over that job in terms of, hey, we want to make sure people are focused on FCS football and the Missouri Valley and being at the top of that conversation?
Yeah, we've got a good product. The on-field play is as good as anybody in the country, and so, one thing I've always heard and abided by is be where you're planted, and thrive where you're planted. So, where we're at right now is ranked at the top premier of the FCS, and that's where we want to stay, and that's where we want to, progress further into having that further separation from the rest of the pack, and really be the top dog for a long time in that route. So it's a great league, top to bottom. I'm selfish in the fact that I want more teams in the playoff hunt and playoff race, and I'd love nothing more than going into semifinal weekend knowing we got a national championship under our belt.
Have you had your travel plans figured out for the fall yet? I'm trying to get everywhere. Is that still in the works right now?
Still in the works a little bit.
Yeah.
I've got the schedule pulled up. I've got a bunch of games circled that I want to get to. One thing I really want to hit in the short term is getting to every campus. Certainly before season starts or shortly after the season starts, and establishing those relationships and being on campus and meeting folks. And, I love watching games. I joke with my family all the time. Like, I get paid to watch games on Saturday. So it's really the best job in the world. And I love college football. I love college atmosphere. I know the Missouri Valley's got, tremendous fan support and tremendous institutional support across the board. So I'm really looking forward to getting to every campus.
Kyle, I know when we had Jeff on, the chatter of a potential in-person media day was high up there. Is that something are you tasked with, and how realistic is that could be for the upcoming football season?
Yeah, I think that's already set in motion, that the Missouri Valley Football Conference is going to have an in-person, actually at at the top of the next hour, I'm jumping on a call. We're going to talk some media day stuff. So
Okay.
that'll kind of be my intro. We'll figure out what's going on and see those things. But I know that was been an appetite for a long time to have an in-person deal. The way I look at those media days is that's a great opportunity to sell our league and sell your programs and kind of get your name in front of everybody else in the country. And so I think that'll be a great benefit. Kudos to everybody leading up to this point and getting that handled. I think there was a strong appetite from certainly athletic directors on down to get that accomplished.
You had one in the UAC. What was the, I guess, appetite from the coaches, players to be involved in it, and how much do you think that helped in getting more, excitement for the upcoming season? Because frankly, we haven't had that here, and I really think we haven't had it in the Missouri Valley. I think that could really help, honestly.
Yeah, I loved it. That was kind of a good pet project of mine. Something where we were able to think differently about stuff and being able to sell when you're going up against every other conference's media day. You got to do something a little bit different, and we were able to accomplish some things that were a little bit different and unique and fun and in big time environment. And I think really those things can get away from you if you let them, but I think you keep the focus on the student athlete experience. It's a great opportunity to love on your student athletes and promote them and promote your programs, give them fun, unique opportunities and things to do, and work in ways that you can support your institutions from a possible donor event or anything else like that. So what we were able to accomplish previously was a lot of fun. Look to carry some of that stuff forward into the MVFC, and I think it's a great opportunity just to get out in front and sell and promote your programs and your players.
I really appreciate you doing this, bud. I know you're not officially on the job, but thanks for giving us a little glimpse into stuff, and look forward to meeting you in person when we get to Media Day then a little bit.
I'm excited. I'll more than glad to hop on anytime. I know I'm just kind of a space filler till you get to your dad and start talking baseball. And hey, I get it.
Hey, no, man, I hadn't even get a chance to talk Tulsa football because you were a dude at Tulsa. So I asked now because in that league, Bison fans think, hey, they could compete in the American. You're now in the Missouri Valley. What do we think? Could NDSU keep its own in the American Athletic Conference or what?
I love NDSU in the Missouri Valley Football Conference.
See, he's got the right answer already. Appreciate it, bud. Thanks so much for doing this. Have a great weekend. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Dom. Really appreciate you.
Kyle Grooms, who's the new CIO of the Missouri Valley Football Conference, and you'll see more of him, I'm sure, on this show and around different games. He's going to be the go-to guy. If there's a question on officiating, if there's television-wise, he's going to be the boots on the ground, which, frankly, we haven't had that in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. It's not been there. And I understand for fans out there, they say, hey, just give me the game and tell me the score. But there's more to that. And I think for people that are on social media that want to see buzz about their league, the Valley hasn't had it. None. The Summit League has done a really good job in drawing attention to itself when they are not playing, whether it been the Summit Big Sky Challenge. Look at all the videos that Fenton did with the arm wrestling to get ready with Tom Wistersill when they were getting ready for the challenge there. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about. Just have people talk about your league when games aren't going on is the big deal. And that's something that he's going to be tasked with going forward. Starting with an in-person media day, while it might sound self-serving to us, it's actually for the viewer, listener. You want to hear about your team, right? You want to hear about the people talking about your team. You want to hear from South Dakota State, South Dakota, UND, Northern Iowa, right? That's the way to get it going. I thought the last couple of years we've been down in Sioux Falls for Summit League basketball has been great because you've got to hear from, we've had everybody on. We've had everybody from SDSU, USD, NDSU, and UND on the last couple of years we've been down there. It's been great. That you want to see more of that on the football side. All right, we'll break. We come back. I promised it yesterday. We'll spend a couple minutes on the realignment wheel with the news on Villanova leaving the CAA for the Patriot League. The Patriot League, I got asked yesterday, where is that rank in FCS conferences now? It's moving up. Back on Hot Mic right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Good stuff there. We'll podcast it with Kyle Grooms coming up later on for those that are interested on what that new role is going to look like in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. Overnight, friend of the program, Matt Brown, who writes the Extra Points newsletter, put out a new one where it said the headline is, "Get ready for even more mid-major conference realignment," which obviously started with yesterday with the news that Utah Valley is made it official. They're heading to the Big West beginning in, almost a year now, July 1, 2026. And that leaves the WAC at a precarious spot. Kyle's not going to talk too much about it right now. He can't. But that league, with the departures, and we went through it yesterday, is down to 5 members. And the 5 are at a rather precarious spot of conference home. Here's what I wanted to read from Brown's newsletter that pertains to us here. He writes, "Where will the remaining schools go?" It's a great question. The 3 Texas schools, Abilene Christian, UT Arlington, and Tarleton State, have at various points over the last few months popped up as potential candidates for the Summit League, the Southland, or the Atlantic Sun. The other Utah institutions, Utah Tech and Southern Utah, don't appear to have as many options. I'm told the Summit League is not particularly interested in the 2 Utah schools without Utah Valley, and that the Big Sky and Big West are almost immediately not interested. Okay. So I think we know where we're going with this here, because we've talked about this now for the last handful of months on the Utah schools, that when we were at the Summit League tournament in Sioux Falls in March, I asked about that specifically, and I got a quick rebuff that, I don't think that's anything we'd be interested in from people that would know on that in terms of Utah Tech and Southern Utah. Obviously, the league has already been in Cedar City over a decade ago. So now I would focus right now on the Texas schools. It makes a ton of sense. If they wanted to go and do that. Football-wise, it's a no-brainer. If you want to make the Missouri Valley Football Conference power of strength there, you add, because Arlington doesn't play football, you go and add Tarleton and Abilene. You do it right. If you could, you do it today and get the league up to 12 members and call it good. Maybe you do divisions. We could spend another day on that. I got asked this yesterday, and I thought this was a good topic to bring up, because I was asked, Dom, now with Villanova's departure from the CAA to the Patriot League, where does that put the Patriot in terms of top conferences in the FCS? Are they the 3rd best? I'm not ready to go there yet, because I think the Southland will be okay. I think the SoCon actually is going to be better. Mercer's coming. Chattanooga, East Tennessee State, they'll be all right. They'll be okay. But now, and you could look, this is what the Patriot is going to look like starting next year. The Patriot now is going to have William and Mary, playoff team, quarterfinalist a couple years ago. Richmond, who's been to the semifinals. Now Villanova into the mix as well. Holy Cross has been good. Fordham has been good. It's been a while since Lafayette's been any good, or Lehigh for that matter. Lehigh was out here 15 years ago. Bucknell's there. Georgetown, they're not really good in football. Colgate, we know, has been really good in this conference. They were out here as a quarterfinalist. Beat James Madison in 2018. This is good football, folks. It's better now than it was. The CAA, I'm telling you, and we talked about it when they started adding schools, and Bryant went in, and Hampton, and Monmouth, and North Carolina A&T. I don't know what they were doing, and they've paid the price for it. They added schools that the traditional football powers didn't want to be part with, and so they left. And they can do that because those schools house their other sports in different conferences. Villanova's a part of the Big East, right? For their basketball. Football now will be a part of the Patriot League. We'll say more of this with Sam Herder and what's going to be a pretty lengthy segment on Monday with everything going down. But the Patriots suddenly has upped itself for next season, 2026. They're going to be A-OK with those schools now being in the mix. Appreciate the comments on that. We're due for a break. We come back. We save our best segment for last. My Pop's coming up with QB1 now signed for his team. Aaron Rodgers is a Steeler. That's coming up. We come back.
If that was me and you, if you'd have went with a Boston, you'd have been living in the garage. I had a Yankee hat on, of course, which I usually almost always do, but she says to me, if I were you, I'd take that hat off. And I looked at what look at to begin with. I ain't taking my hat off. I know where I am. Yeah, right.
You believe anything that guy says? Because I don't.
He said he was going to marry J-Lo, too, remember? Come on. I finally told your mom. I said, there's no sense. Let's just put TVs in the room because I'm only going to wake them up anyway. So
that's how I got a television? All right, we got a surprise guest here to end the show. I wasn't planning on having my Pops on. We got to give him a break because we put him to work through 6 months of the year. So summertime is off. But a couple instances demanded his appearance this week on the show. What's up, Pops? How we doing?
Good. How you doing, man? Doing good.
Because I had 3 emails yesterday asking, can we get your dad on for reaction of what went down that the Pittsburgh Steelers have signed Aaron Rodgers to a 1-year contract.
That was done months ago. You know what I mean? They didn't. There's no way the Steelers would have done what they did without having that already a done deal. They just didn't want to announce it. That's all.
Are you coming to grips with it now? How are you doing?
That's Rodgers playing his game. I'll come to grips with how good he does or how bad he does. Who knows?
Do you know who the Steelers open up the 2025 season with?
The Jets.
They open with the Jets. They play the Jets. Let's go.
You might as well have it give me right off the bat.
Oh, let's not even start. We got 4 months to talk smack here.
Are they in Pittsburgh?
I think that game's in New York. So that's going to go over. That'll be great.
Oh yeah, they'll be throwing stuff on the field. Probably.
The only thing I think Tomlin had to sign off on this, right? Tomlin is the guy who runs the whole ship here. So that's
telling you this was signed off in June.
Yeah,
I guarantee it was because they didn't make a move. They
didn't.
They weren't going to go with Rudolph. They weren't.
And they didn't draft anybody either.
Right.
Yeah.
They never made a move. So, it was over then. It was just the dark boy wanting to keep everything secret.
I just can't imagine that Tomlin is on board with this. That's the part that gets me. I shake my head at.
Well, who knows? But you're right. I don't think it would have flown if it wasn't for him. But
here we go. Email comes in. Dom, let you know, Aaron Rodgers will now be referred to as the Izzo curse. There you go. He went from my team. He's going to your team there, buddy boy. Tip of the hat. Good luck to you.
We'll see about that.
Hey, if he can play more than, what was it, Eric? How many, was it 3 plays before he tore his Achilles the first game? If he gets 3 plays in, you're doing better than what he did. So
yeah, well, we'll see. I think the Jets should have stuck with him 1 more year. I really do. But we'll see what happens.
Actually, this is a better email. Who does your dad dislike more, A-Rod or A-Raj? That's pretty good. I don't know the answer to it.
A-Rod. That guy just turns my stomach. I don't know why. I just don't.
Hey, the last time the Yankees won the World Series, he was the MVP. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, and that was a mistake, too.
What?
I guarantee you his house has probably got mirrors all over the place. Just so he can look at himself.
I think he's pretty good on television, actually. I don't mind him on Fox. I think he does a pretty good job. I like him on TV.
Nope.
Well, there you go. There's a definitive answer
nope.
on that. So there you go. A-Raj is a Steeler. They open up with the Jets in week 1. That'll be fantastic. You know what? The NFL did this as well. They knew You know, when they look at the Steelers' schedule, it hinted that way. That they think that
you're right. They know.
You know,
I mean, the whole thing was just a setup to keep his name in the news all this time, and you know who likes that better than the NFL?
Aaron Rodgers also likes it more than anybody too. I didn't know this, Eric, that they're playing the Steelers and the Packers are playing on Sunday Night Football too. NBC knew that. Holy cow!
Yeah, like your dad said, this deal was done in like April.
Oh my gosh! So there you go. That'll be great. That game is in Pittsburgh. So
that'd be better if it was
in Green Bay. It'd be better considering how his buddy Favre was welcomed back when he played for the Vikings.
Whenever he goes to Green Bay, that would have to be good.
Oh man! All right. So Eric wanted me to throw out because he went to the race last week in Nashville. He said your pick stunk that you gave us last week.
Yeah, they did too. You know I'm never going to pick a Ford, so there you go. That's not going to happen.
So we got
the Chevys didn't show up.
So we got Michigan this week. We're a couple races in on Prime. How's everything looking so far?
Every broadcast starts out blurry. Every time, and I know it's not just me, but by the first half hour, it's the same thing with football.
Yeah.
And after that, it comes in really just perfect.
Everything's good after that, then.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
And they did a good job. I thought they did a real good job.
Who we got for a winner? Who you picking then this week? What do you got?
Larson.
We can just set this on repeat. You do this every week.
You know what? I'd like the watermelon guy too. I think he's going to be okay. This is actually the manufacturer's Super Bowl.
Oh, really?
Whenever they run in Michigan, because all the manufacturers are right there.
Okay, so, there we go.
And you know, Toyota's not going to win. That'd be very seldom if that happens. But Ford usually wins at Michigan. But
the watermelon guy, for those that don't follow NASCAR, Ross Chastain. Thank you, Eric.
Chastain. Yep.
Can we explain what that's about?
Well, if he races, he's a watermelon farmer. His family owns watermelon farms. So every time he wins, he smashes a watermelon on the track.
Whatever they can get to get viewers in, I guess. There you go.
Yep.
All right. That's at 1 o'clock our time, Central Time on Sunday from Michigan. This is in the midst of Prime's races. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total races, and then TNT takes over at the end of June before NBC gets its deal. You caught the end of the game last night, but I know you were watching the softball World Series the last 2 nights, which has been dynamite. 2 really, really good games.
Yeah, it was for sure. The first one was unbelievable, but last night was pretty good too. So
well,
tonight should be real.
Yeah,
good.
I mean, it's winner take all. It's going to be great. We were talking off air on the game on Wednesday with the intentional walk, but the pitches to Reese Atwood, I think her name is, the catcher from Texas, were too close to lay off, and then she ended up swinging on 3-0.
They're right down the middle.
Yeah,
and he threw them right down the middle. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
But apparently, maybe she's never done that. Maybe, who knows?
Well, I see. It's so different now because in the majors you don't have to pitch. All you got to do is just let them know, and they automatically take their base.
That's a bunch of crap too. So
you don't care for that, do you?
Right there's a reason why you shouldn't. Make them walk them. That's all.
Yeah, I hear you.
But I wish they would have. I'm sure they thought they should have done that the other night.
Yeah. You know how much restraint it took me not to text you the other night when the Dodgers beat the Yankees 18-2. By the way.
Yeah, I turned it off. I wasn't even going to think about it.
And now you got Boston this weekend. Those games are never on TV. The Red Sox and the Yankees are playing. No, that's how original is that?
That'll be a good one. That'll be a good series.
Boston's not any good.
I think they got 6 games. It's always good with Yankees and Boston. I think they got 6 games in the next 8 days or something.
Yeah, because I don't think they've played yet this year. So that's probably they got to get that going. All right, I saved the biggest news for last because the other reason wasn't about Aaron Rodgers. The big reason would have Pops on because what is it now? 2.5 years ago, you started having some severe back pain, and we obviously know what ended up happening. And now here we can sit on June 6th, 2025. You got a call from your doc. You had a visit with him on Wednesday. Tell everybody what happened.
cancer-free. Sorry.
No, man, you got nothing to apologize for.
It's been a long road.
Yes, it has.
It was worth the fight. So. Meet it again. Cancer-free again. So
2 times it's come for him, and 2 times he's knocked it, the you-know-what, out.
Yep.
It's funny.
It's awesome. It's just...
He texted me on.
It's been a tough road.
He texted me Wednesday saying, "Can you call me?" And that's never a good sign. And I'm like, I'm all worried. I'm like, okay, what? And then you said that, and I was, oh man, I can't say what I said because we'll have to go to color bars after that. But you know, when you were out here last June for Jack Madden's birthday, and everybody knew exactly what you went through there in terms of surgery on your back, major surgery. Doing cancer treatments at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. I'm just.
It's
unbelievable, man.
The miracles of modern medicine is really, if you just, some people get really lucky, and I got really lucky. So.
And you're also
awesome.
One tough SOB because you've not given up one iota, from losing your voice to not being able to walk. I'm telling you, man, it's.
I know.
Been a grind. So,
but I got 2 grandkids to keep me going. That's all.
Yeah, they're ready to play with their grandpa. I know that at the end of the month. So we wanted to end the week with the best news possible, and that certainly was that. So doesn't matter anything. Everything else just melts away after hearing
it really
that.
did.
So
once I heard that, it was just what I've been waiting to hear.
Absolutely.
So, yep.
All right. Now
I just got to be checked every 3 months and go from there.
So there's only one last thing to do, and that's if you got the go-ahead to get on the motorcycle yet, because that's it, right? That's the last thing on the to-do list.
Yes, that's totally up to me when I'm ready to make that venture, and it won't be long. I was actually wanting to try it today, but it's pouring rain right now.
Not today. Let's wait.
Ain't gonna happen.
Let's wait. That is, I want to make sure we share that today. I love you.
Yes.
I can't wait to hug you and see you in a few weeks because that is the best news that we've been waiting to hear for 2 years. You came out here and told everybody that you were sick, and now here we are 2 years later to tell everybody that you're better, and that's awesome.
I'm on my way for sure, man.
Go enjoy your
Thank you to
weekend.
everybody there too for what they've done to me for there too. It's been awesome.
They always ask about you, and you know it firsthand for coming out here last year, knowing full well what people think of you out here. So
definitely a big shout out to your sister because she was up and down.
Yep.
So it's been a journey.
Go enjoy your weekend.
My whole
all right.
family, so
No doubt. I love you, and I'll talk to you later. All right.
All right,
Congratulations.
man, I love you too.
All right.
Thank you.
Go
Yep,
spike
have a
the
good one,
football
man.
on that one. There he goes. My pops, cancer-free. We can say that officially here on the 6th of June, 2025. He came on the show a couple years ago. He didn't have to. He wanted to let people know. Shared that, and now here we are. We can say a couple years later that he freaking beat it. I couldn't be more, just awesome. All right, we'll break before I start crying because no one wants to see that on TV. Let's do that. We'll come back. We'll wrap things up and get you ready for a awesome sports weekend. Hot Mike, we'll wrap up right after this. All right, wrapping things up here. Our final few minutes of the show. Get set for a big weekend here. We've got state championship games coming up in softball later today. Good luck to the Hawley Nuggets. The BGMR Gators playing down in Mankato to wrap up the Minnesota high school softball season. See if they can bring home titles in Class A and AA coming up later today. We'll be back on Monday. Get you ready for a brand new week. NCAA track championships get going next week. We're nearing the end of the road here of the Scholastic sports season. Next week, you got state baseball, which now we'll be intimately involved with the Spuds, making it down for the first time in 35 years. The state track meet, they moved it. State track used to be this weekend in Minnesota. It'll actually go it'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Boys lacrosse is going on and girls lacrosse next week. and that'll be a capper on the high school sports season. So we still got some teams still going, and we'll give you all the details on that coming up on next week's show. Looking forward to that. College World Series will be going a week from today. We're down to the Sweet 16, as it were, in college baseball. The Super Regionals are this weekend. Best of 3. You win 2 games, you get to go to Omaha next week. Eric made a dynamite graphic. There it is. These are the teams left. Some games today, 4 games today, and then I believe 8 in total tomorrow will be played. You got Miami and Louisville, Florida State, Oregon State. That'll be fun. Arizona, North Carolina is actually coming up here, and we'll feature that and what to watch in just a couple minutes. Coastal Carolina and Auburn, the Chants against Auburn. Arkansas, of course, who knocked off North Dakota State, will play Tennessee in an all-SEC regional. West Virginia, who knocked off Kentucky, will get LSU. Murray State. Are we behind Murray State as a Missouri Valley Football Conference member? Murray State will have Duke. That'll be tomorrow to start that Super Regional. And then Texas San Antonio and UCLA. Those are the 16 teams left, and 8 of those will move on to Omaha. I think we all know we want some underdogs to make it there, like Oral Roberts did a couple years ago. So if Murray State can knock off Duke or Coastal, well, Coastal's not an underdog. They won the whole thing a few years back. But if we can see one of those teams make it, San Antonio, that'd be fun to make it there. But to the Final 8. Eric's asking for the I don't know. Yeah, you said 6 quarterbacks have beaten all 32. Well, Favre's one of them, right?
Correct.
Okay. Oh, boy.
2 of these quarterbacks probably broke your heart a couple times.
Peyton?
Peyton has done it.
Eli?
Nope.
Okay.
Eli never played off the Giants.
No, that's right. He was a Giant his whole career. Those are the 2 that come to mind. Who are the other 4?
One guy you hate.
Oh, Brady.
I can't believe you didn't get him.
Yeah, well, easy.
Drew Brees, because he played for the Chargers to start.
Oh, okay.
And then
I wouldn't have got Drew Brees.
The 2 guys that they played before, they were all 32. There was only 28.
Okay.
Joe Montana and Fran Tarkenton.
Oh. Guys have played forever. I got 3. I feel pretty. I would not. If I had more time, thought about it longer, I would never have gotten Drew Brees. Never. Montana, maybe. I don't know about Tarkenton. I would have got that. That's a good one. It's a good stumper there on a Friday. Appreciate that. Couple email I'll read. This is great. Dom, it's always a highlight of the week having your pops on the show. The positive updates are fantastic and heartfelt. I appreciate that from I know a viewer that's watched our show from the get-go. It means a lot that people out here have been as supportive as they have. I think that really buoyed my dad's spirits as well early on this, and it's been a long road, as he said, and this is the best payoff we could hear that news. Like he said, call me. I'm like, God, it's never. When you live far away, and people will know this from family, and you get a phone, hey, can you call me? Normally the connotation isn't good, so this one was the best phone call to make. All right, let's do some What to Watch before we get out of here on this Friday. What to Watch, sponsored by Northwestern Mutual. We appreciate that. Panthers and Oilers, Game 2 coming up tonight in Edmonton, 7 o'clock on TNT. Edmonton with an overtime win on Wednesday leads the series 1-0. We'll see if Florida can even it up. Game 3, winner take all. Women's College World Series tonight, 7 o'clock, ESPN, Texas and Texas Tech. Winner wins the national championship. Pretty simple. Should be dynamite there. And coming up here in just a couple minutes, it's Game 1 of the Super Regionals, ESPN 2, Arizona and North Carolina. Whoever wins that best of 3 goes to Omaha and the College World Series. By Monday, we should know, we'll know half of the field that makes it to Omaha coming up on Monday's show. We got to roll. Thanks to Greg Salvevold, Kyle Grooms, Cory Provus, of course, to my dad. If you missed any of the show, you can podcast it later today at Inforum.com. You can watch a full replay on WDAY+. Everybody have a great weekend. Get out there and enjoy it. And we'll see you back here on Monday on Hot Mike. Thanks so much for watching, everybody.